I've wasted thousands of dollars on sketchy prop firms that either don't pay out or have a ton of sketchy rules. But after trading with over a dozen different firms in the past few years, I've finally found only 2 that actually deserve your money in 2026. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which prop firms to trust with your hard-earned cash and why these 2 are the only ones worth your time. So here's the thing about prop firms right now. There are literally hundreds of them popping up every single month. And honestly, most of them are totally garbage. I learned this the hard way when I was first starting off with a prop firm called TEFS, which later rebranded to Calmex Pro. And let me tell you, if I had known then what I know now, I would have saved myself so much frustration and, more importantly, so much money. But you're in luck because you're watching this video right now. After years of testing different firms, getting payouts, and yes, losing money on bad ones, I've narrowed it down to just 2 prop firms that you should be looking at in 2026. And no, this isn't some comparison video where I'm going to confuse you with a million different details. This is a straightforward guide to help you to make the right choice without wasting time and money like I did. The 2 firms we're covering today are FTMO and FundedNext. Both of them are available to US traders, which is huge because they have to follow strict US regulations. That's your first sign that they're legit, and I've left links to both firms in the description below so you can check them out yourself. And stay tuned because later in this video, I'm going to reveal a hidden rule that FTMO has that almost no one knows about. It's not even on their website, and breaking this rule could get you banned even after you pass the challenge. You definitely don't want to miss that. These aren't just random firms that I'm recommending, neither of them sponsored this video. So here's the problem most traders face. You find a prop firm with great marketing, you pay for the challenge and somehow pass it, and then when it's time to get paid, crickets. Or they find some obscure rule you supposedly broke and deny you your payout. It's frustrating, and it's happened too many times to too many traders. This is where FTMO completely changed the game for me. They started back in 2015. That's 9 years of being in business. And here's the thing that really matters. If you follow their rules, they actually pay out their traders. I know that sounds like a low bar, but in this industry, that's actually very impressive. FTMO offers challenges ranging from 10K all the way up to 200K accounts. There's a 2-phase challenge. In phase 1, you need to hit 10% profit target. So if you're going for the 100K account, by the way, I recommend the 100K account, you need to make $10,000 to pass. Sounds simple enough, right? But here's where traders get tripped up. And I'm speaking from experience here because I've failed this myself. There are 2 critical rules: a 10% max loss and a 5% max daily loss. The daily loss rule is brutal. On a 100K account, you can't lose more than $5,000 in a single trading day. I've hit that limit before, and it's not fun watching your challenge just end like that. Once you pass phase 1, which I'm pretty sure you will, you move to phase 2, which is honestly much easier. You only need a 5% profit target, so $5,000 on the same 100K account. The daily loss and max loss rules still apply, but the profit target is half of what it was in phase 1. Here's what I love personally about FTMO. There's no time limit. You can take as long as you want to pass the challenge. The only requirement is you need to trade a minimum of 4 trading days. This takes so much pressure off your trading, which helps you to be more profitable. You don't have to force trades just because of some arbitrary deadline. And get this, when you pass the challenge and get your first payout, FTMO actually refunds your challenge fee. So that initial investment, you get it back at the end. That's pretty rare in this industry. Now, let me tell you something very important that affects US traders specifically. Both FTMO and FundedNext accept US traders, and that's significant. A lot of prop firms won't touch US traders because of strict regulations. The fact that these 2 firms are willing to work with US regulatory framework tells you they're operating above board. They're not trying to cut corners or run some shady operation. I've left links to both firms in the description below if you want to check them out. Before we jump into FundedNext, remember that hidden FTMO rule I mentioned earlier? We're getting to that soon, and trust me, you need to know about this before you even think about their challenge. But first, let's cover FundedNext because there's something unique about them that could completely change your payout game. Alright, so FundedNext is the second firm I recommend, and they do things a bit differently than FTMO. Here's what really impressed me. They have a 24-hour payout guarantee. If they don't pay you within 24 hours, they'll give you an additional $1,000. The process is super simple. You submit through your dashboard, it gets reviewed the same day, and the money hits your account within 24 hours. Now, I want to be honest here. They have over 21,000 reviews on Trustpilot with 4.5 stars. That looks great on paper, but I always take Trustpilot reviews reviews with a grain of salt because companies can manipulate them. What matters more to me is my actual experience and the experiences of traders I know personally. And on that front, FundedNext has been solid. Here's where FundedNext gets interesting. They have 4 different challenge programs, and when I first saw that, I was honestly confused. Like, why do you need 4 different options? But once I understood them, I realized they're actually trying to cater to different types of traders. They've got the Stellar program, Stellar Light, Evaluation, and Express. Let me break down the ones that actually matter. The Stellar program is their standard 2-phase challenge. Phase 1 requires an 8% profit target. Phase 2 needs 5%. You've got a 5% daily loss and a 10% max loss. Pretty standard stuff. The commission is $3 per lot, which is competitive, and you get up to 95% profit split. What I really like is there's no time limit and no consistency rule. You can trade news, hold overnight, use EAs. They give you a lot of freedom. Here's something cool that FundedNext does that I haven't seen with other firms. You get a 15% profit share from your challenge fees, but you only get this once you grow your funded account by 5%. It's a nice little bonus for passing the challenge. Now, if you're on a budget, check out their Stellar Light program. It's basically the same as the Stellar Challenge, but cheaper. A 100K account actually costs $400 instead of $549. Your daily loss is reduced to 4% instead of 5%. Your max loss is 8% instead of 10%, and the commission doubles to $7 per lot. I've actually taken the Stellar Light Challenge before, and I'd say it's good for people who want to save money, but you really need to be careful with your drawdown. Those tighter loss limits can catch you if you're not disciplined. They also have a 1-phase challenge under the Stellar program if you want something faster. It has a 10% profit target, 3% daily loss, 6% overall loss. You can request payouts every 5 business days. If you're someone who wants quick access to your profits, this might be your jam. Real quick, I've left links to both FTMO and FundedNext in the description below and the pinned comment. Make sure you check those out before making any decisions. So, which one should you choose? Here's my honest take. If you're someone who values a proven track record and doesn't mind slightly more conservative rules, go with FTMO. They've been around longer, they have that 9-year history, and their trading conditions are rock solid. Plus, getting your challenge fee refunded with your first payout is a nice touch. If you want more flexibility, faster payouts, and you like having options with different challenge types, FundedNext might be better for you. That 24-hour payout guarantee is honestly game-changing, especially if you need quicker access to your profits. And here's the thing, you don't have to just choose one. A lot of successful traders, myself included, run accounts with multiple firms. It spreads your risk and gives you more capital to trade with. Just make sure that you can manage multiple accounts without over-trading. Both firms are available to US traders. I can't stress that enough. The fact that they're willing to work within US regulations tells you they're legitimate operations. I've got the links to both in the description below so you can explore them yourself. Alright, remember that hidden FTMO rule I teased at the beginning? Here it is, and this is critical, so listen up. FTMO has what is called a maximum capital allocation rule of $400,000 per trader per strategy. But here's what they don't tell you upfront. If you risk too much per trade, like 3 to 4% on your account, you run the risk of being flagged for risky trading. FTMO doesn't want traders who are gambling their accounts. If you're taking massive risks, your account can be flagged and you might be forced to reduce your leverage, have your payout denied, or even get banned from FTMO altogether. And this can happen after you pass the challenge. But the rule of thumb I was told by someone who works closely with FTMO is to stick between 0.5% to 1% risk per trade. I know it sucks because you want to grow the account faster, but following this rule is way better than spending all that time and money passing a challenge, finally getting a payout only to have it denied because you were risking too much money. This is one of those things that can completely derail your funded journey if you're not aware of it. So keep your risk conservative, especially on FTMO accounts. While we're talking about FTMO rules, let me give you a couple more tips that will help you to avoid these issues. First, be super careful with EAs. If you buy a commercial EA from a website or a MQL marketplace that other people have access to, FTMO might flag your account. They have this capital allocation rule because they don't want thousands of traders running the exact same strategy. If you're using an EA that lots of other people are using, you might get denied a payout or even terminate. So if you're going to use an EA, make sure it's something unique or custom built for you. Second, once you get to a funded account with FTMO, there are additional rules around news trading and holding positions overnight. You need to close positions before the weekend, and you can't trade 2 minutes before and after high impact news events. This can be annoying if you're used to trading freely. Here's my tip to bypass all of this. When you get your funded account, ask for the swing account. accounts. This reduces your leverage to 1 to 30, but you can still trade news, hold over the weekend, and hold overnight. Honestly, 1 to 30 leverage is plenty if you're trading a funded account properly. It's worth it for the freedom. Let's talk about trading conditions, because this actually matters when you're trying to pass a challenge. With FTMO, the trading conditions are excellent. The spreads are competitive, slippage is minimal, and the execution is solid. I've traded with them during news events and haven't had any major issues. Though you should always be cautious during high impact news, regardless of which broker or prop firm you're using. FundedNext has $3 per lot commission on forex and commodities, which is pretty low. For indices and cryptos, it's $0 per lot. If you're on the Stellar Light program though, the commission doubles to $7 per lot, which is on the high side. From my experience, the spreads and slippage with FundedNext are okay. They didn't have any huge impact on my trading, but you do need to be careful during news events. That's pretty standard across the industry though. FTMO has 24/7 live chat, and I've used it multiple times. They're responsive and actually helpful. FundedNext also has 24/7 support, and whenever I've had questions, they've gotten back to me quickly. So look, passing these challenges isn't easy. Most traders fail multiple times before they pass. I've failed challenges myself, and it's frustrating, but that's why there's no time limit with most of these programs. If you take your time, trade your plan, and don't force any trades, these challenges are very much possible. The key is to treat the challenge like an account with real money. Don't overtrade, don't revenge trade, and for the love of everything, don't blow through that 5% daily loss thinking you can make it back. I've made that mistake, and it's an expensive mistake. If you're struggling to pass challenges, I've actually created a detailed video on the exact strategies and mindsets that helped me to start passing these challenges. There's going to be a link on screen at the end of this video, so feel free to check that out. I know some of you are still probably thinking, but what about all those stories of prop firms not paying out and finding excuses to deny payouts? That's a valid concern. That's why I'm only recommending these two firms. But here's the thing, you need to follow the rules. Read the rules, understand them. If you have questions, use the live chat. Both FTMO and FundedNext have excellent support teams who will clarify anything you're unsure about. Don't assume, don't guess, just ask. And another thing, these firms have scrutiny measures in place to detect things like hedging between accounts, using prohibited EAs, or manipulated trades. They're not stupid. They have systems that flag unusual trading patterns. So trade legitimately, trade your own strategy, and you won't have any issues. The fact that both of these firms accept US traders is huge. I know I said this before, but the US has some of the strictest financial regulations in the world. For a prop firm to operate in the US market, they need to be legitimate. They can't afford to run shady operations because they'd get shut down immediately. That regulatory oversight is actually protecting you as a trader. Let me give you some final tips that will help you succeed with whichever firm you choose. First, start with a smaller account size. Don't go straight to 200k challenge thinking you'll make more money. I recommend starting with a 100k challenge. Learn the rules, understand how prop firms operate, and build your confidence. Once you pass the smaller challenge, you can scale up to bigger accounts. Second, track everything. Keep a trading journal. Note which days you're trading, how much you are risking, what your daily P&L is. This helps you to stay aware of those daily loss limits and overall drawdown limits. The worst feeling is thinking you're doing fine and then suddenly realizing you're too close to a violation. Thirdly, be patient. There's no time limit on these challenges. The market isn't going anywhere. There will always be opportunities to trade. Don't force trades just because you feel like you need to be active. Wait for your setup, execute your plan, and trust the process. And remember, I've left links to both FTMO and FundedNext in the description below. Make sure to check those out. Both firms are solid choices depending on what you're looking for. So here's the deal. When I first started this trading journey with TEFs and Colmex Pro, I had no idea what I was doing. I wasted money, I got frustrated, and honestly, I almost gave up on the whole prop firm thing altogether. But then I found FTMO and FundedNext, and everything changed. These aren't perfect firms, no prop firm is, but they're legitimate. They pay out their traders, and they give you a real shot at building a funded trading career. Think about where you were when you started watching this video. You probably had questions about which prop firm to trust, which ones aren't worth your money, and which ones you should avoid. Now you know. You've got two solid options. Are you going to keep researching and never take action? Or are you going to pick one of these firms, study their rules, and actually take a challenge? If you're serious about becoming a funded trader, you need to take action. Pick FTMO or FundedNext, or hell, try both and commit to passing that challenge. It's not going to be easy, but nothing worth having ever is. And if you're worried that you won't pass the challenge, or you've tried one and failed before, click this video on screen right now to help with that.